Whoa. Because the news had come out, the Carolina Panthers have officially hired Frank Reich, the first quarterback in Carolina Panthers history, to be their next head coach. So to repeat, Adam Schefter, all the Panthers beat reporters right now are reporting that Frank Reich, who was the former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, let go unceremoniously. If anything, it was a good gesture on the Colts' part, because then he did not have to endure that situation, because their owner is wild. If you think David Tepper's wild, he looks like a tame lamb compared to Frank Reich, who is an offensive-minded head coach, the first offensive-minded head coach the Carolina Panthers have ever had. So he was the former head coach with the Indianapolis Colts, former offensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles. He reportedly did not call plays with the Philadelphia Eagles, but he turned Carson Wentz, who was the second overall pick out of North Dakota State, into a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Mind you, he didn't play in that game, but he did lead the MVP race in that year. He then went on to be on the Colts head coach, got fired. Jim Irsay is an absolute madman, so that's okay. He's from the Charlotte area, or he resides in the Charlotte area. His daughter got hired by the Carolina Panthers last week. She's had nothing to do with this. She got the job. She applied for the job when she was still with the Colts, when her dad was the head coach of the Colts. Again, he's a pro. I got you. Sorry, I'm just looking at it. I can do it. Sorry, just things are breaking right now. I had my brother he's making a thumbnail. I thought maybe the news would come down later today. As you can probably tell, I'm not at my house. I'm at home. I'm at work, which is basically home. But I told them my Carolina Panthers might be hiring their head coach, so I might be having to go live somewhere. So my brother's making the thumbnail now. Anyways, I believe he was the backup to Jim Kelly in the Buffalo years as well. So the city of Buffalo, which is kind of Carolina Panthers north, close to his heart. Again, offensive guy. Let's just take a look at these comments. Pop Bullets, hopefully not real bullets, says, I'm happy. Brian Hensley's like, no. El Tigre, good hire. Oh, El Tigre from Raleigh. El Tigre from Raleigh. Men in Seattle. If that's you, what's up? Hey, W hiring. I'm not mad at it. We just need a rookie QB. About time we hire someone. Reich played for Panthers as well. You bet he did, Sam. Matt Corral is going to be a sleeper. Everyone looking out for Matt Corral is not that guy. It is a pipe dream. Well, this is something that we've been talking about. So he is an offensive guy. He could develop quarterbacks. When he got the Indianapolis Colts job, I think he had 1 year with Andrew Luck before he eventually retired. He had a winning record basically every single season he had with the Indianapolis Colts. That dealt with kind of like what the Carolina Panthers had to deal with since Cam Newton, when their star quarterback, potentially Hall of Fame quarterback, and Andrew Luck decided to retire the 2019 season, I believe, leading into 2020. And so they were just playing musical chairs, same way the Carolina Panthers did with veteran quarterbacks, whether it was Carson Wentz, Jacoby Brissett, Matt Ryan. It just didn't work out. It's hard to have that consistency as a head coach, especially if you're an offensive head coach, and you got to teach the system. Even if you know the guy, Carson Wentz, it can get tiring, and it showed on the field. But I think when it comes to Matt Corral, we're jumping all over the place. This is live. We're just freelancing now. You know, we talked about this. We don't know what his situation is going to be like with the Carolina Panthers because he went down with a Liz Frank injury. He just got out of the cast a couple weeks ago. You know, if you're a new head coach with this team, are you really going to hit your wagons right off the gate off a third-round quarterback who hasn't played a lick of professional football in a year and a half? Because he was injured, he wasn't even allowed on the field. He couldn't practice, even with a boot on, nothing. And so I don't see him being a starter right away or even competing right now. He needs to get healthy, and I hope he does because he does have talent. But I could see Frank Reich, who basically, again, when he was the offensive coordinator with the Eagles, Carson Wentz was the quarterback. He didn't choose that quarterback. You know, they did that thing with the Eagles. You know, when he was with the Indianapolis Colts, he had Andrew Luck. He adopted that. That's probably one of the draws why he went to the Colts. Then after that, who knows whether it was a Jim Irsay call or a Ballard call to pick up the veteran quarterbacks that they had. They could have traded up to try to get a rookie. That didn't happen. We don't know. If Frank Reich, I'm sure when he has a press conference, he'll talk about that. Would he prefer a rookie quarterback? Whoop. Um, but if you want to paint it simply, if he wants to protect his ass uh, and have a long, we don't know how long the deal is. Let's take a look and see how long the deal is. Da 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 da. If you don't see me, goes with Frank Reich. We'll see what was the choice. I don't see what the deal is. All right. Well, it doesn't say how long the deal is right now, but if you're a new head coach, you want to hit your wagons on a quarterback of your choosing that is young and cheap so that you can build around them. And, this Panthers team already has a very good defense. It has pieces on the offense. It has, obviously, DJ Moore. They have Terrace Marshall, who is emerging. He had some circus catches in the end of the year when Steve Wilkes, ironically, took the reins as the Carolina Panthers head coach. You have Tommy Tremble, who has some promise. You got, a two running backfield in Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman, who show a lot of good things, a lot of great things. Shi Smith, he came up in some moments, but I could see a replacement coming in that direction as well. But there's places to grow, for sure, in the free agency market and in the draft. But if you're a head coach, you want to hit your wagons on a young, cheap rookie, and there's nobody better that I think that could probably emulate that or be that than C.J. Stroud at Ohio State. We know he's got the legs. He just never had to use them until he faced an elite Georgia defense. He showed it, and he killed it. Probably should have won that game if their kicker didn't miss it. So I can see Reich, who I'm assuming they're going to eventually have a conference of some point, and I'll either go live while watching that or do another video after that. But you would think that he'd want a young rookie quarterback, because right now you don't want, look at the class right now. You got Tom Brady, who, all intents and purposes, he can yell at Jeff Gray as much as he wants. It looks like he's going to be the Raiders quarterback maybe, or San Francisco, depending on how this NFC championship game goes. I could see with Derek Carr, no chance. I don't see that. I could see him maybe going to a Tennessee or something like that. Ryan Tannehill maybe as a bridge. We're seeing Aaron Rodgers now maybe slated to go to the New York Jets. Maybe, we don't know anything. But Nathaniel Hackett is now their offensive coordinator. Obviously, he had connections with Rodgers, which is why people thought the Denver Broncos were going to be favorites to get Rodgers. Ended up staying in Green Bay, but who knows? Yeah, I don't see any of that happening because you didn't trade any picks to get the coach, which you would have had to do if you were trading with the New Orleans Saints to get Sean Payton. You could, depending on what type of franchise tag is placed on Lamar Jackson, you could bunch of picks together to get Lamar, but then you're going to have to pay him. And unlike a coach, that's against the cap. And I don't know. I do think this team, while good and could win a not great NFC South, I still wouldn't do that. I think we need more pieces. And if the cap doesn't matter, sure. But again, it could also go really bad. We don't know. We don't know how Lamar's health is. The PCL is a pretty important ligament. It literally is behind your knee, and it keeps it from shooting forward and just exploding. So it's pretty important, especially for a mobile quarterback like Lamar, which makes him special. 500 season incoming, terrible decision. Wanted Wilkes. Imagine wanting a defensive ultra-conservative head coach like Wilkes in 2023. Great hire from Tepper. All in for Stroud. Yup. Trash. People think it's trash. I don't know how to feel about this. Still want to Harbaugh, but I'm ready. So right. Don't want to coach like the one that took us to the Super Bowl and won division multiple times. I'm with you. Ha ha. What was the great Rivera done in Washington? Still want to Harbaugh. All right. So let's talk about the Wilkes of it all. Andrew Breer, Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated, I think, was talking about, his idea would have, Steve Wilkes and Frank Reich work it out, hash it out, that they could both be on the staff, or, Steve Wilkes is the defensive coordinator. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to go elsewhere. Sheena Quick said that her sources say the Atlanta Falcons are keeping a close eye on this, maybe because the Falcons just lost their defensive coordinator. Maybe that's where that's where Wilkes shows up. I also saw a weird thing on ESPN. They kind of did a mock trade, Lamar Jackson going to the Falcons, which would be kind of wild because they're nowhere near ready to compete. Nate's PNW Adventures not impressed or optimistic about this hire. That's weird. I think Frank Reich, if you like the Eagles, you like Frank Reich because Nick Sirianni worked under Frank Reich, like basically credits his career to Frank Reich. Wished he was coaching against Frank Reich last year, wasn't because they fired him for Jeff Saturday. Um, Mind you, Marcus Cash, a lot of those were, I think he had 1 year with Andrew Luck. The rest were with basically trying to win with the Carolina Panthers. So he was dealing with the Indianapolis Colts with a patchwork quarterback situation, much like us, and had a better record than we ever had in those stretches post Cam. But Sirianni loves Frank Reich, was mad at the Colts organization for letting him go for Jeff Saturday. And if you like if you like Sirianni, if you like Shane Steichen, who did not get the job, according to WFNZ, he interviewed poorly, then you like Frank Reich because that's the umbrella. And if you want a quarterback to be coached properly, proper mechanics, proper read, cool composure from someone who's done it before at a high level in the actual uniform that you're going to be wearing, I don't know why Frank Reich would be bad. I'd be interested to see who his defensive coordinator is, who his offensive coordinator is. Does he pluck somebody from the Eagles organization because he has that umbrella and he has those connections? People were looking at the QB coach with Philadelphia. I think his name is Ben Johnson. Not Ben Johnson, but Ben Jacobs or something. Dave Johnson, Shane Johnson. He was Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator with the Eagles. He was. But from what I read, he did not call the plays. That was all Peterson. So Frank Reich, the head coach, if you're just joining us now, Panthers Post, I'm at work. Breaking news. This is what we do. We do this. And so he's new head coach. Not really. I'm doing this on my phone, so I'm not getting any tweet notifications on when this press conference is going to be. How long the deal is, how much money he's getting. But I will say this. Because he's now the head coach of the team, that means Scott Fitterer is still here. That means Dan Morgan is still here. And we'll see what Samir Suleiman's all about. But this is not a Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh situation where all these guys would probably be on the street. So they're going to continue their brand. We've heard from Scott Fitterer saying they want to eventually be able to get to a point, which they do find themselves in now, to draft a rookie, develop that rookie, a highly sought after rookie, because you cannot deny someone like a CJ Stroud is better and has a higher floor and a higher ceiling than Matt Corral. So I think that's an opportunity right there. I think Benjamin Albright, is that his name? He works in Denver. He was on multiple platforms talking Carolina Panthers, and he said that it would not be out of the realm of possibility that he'd be surprised that the Panthers trade up to first overall. First overall, because remember, they didn't trade those picks for Sean Payton. And they can get, their 9th overall pick, their second, 4th, and maybe a second for next year or first next year. Trade up to first overall with the Chicago Bears and get yourself CJ Stroud, who he says the Carolina Panthers are enamored with. They love him. They're not too high on Bryce Young, most likely because of his size. So, and probably not Will Levis, because honestly, I just don't think he'll track with the Carolina Panthers fan base. I just don't. Anthony Richardson was not a first overall pick. He's got the talent, but I think he's got a lot of work to do. I think Carolina Panther fans obviously would love to have him just because he literally fits the mold of a Cam Newton. But I think CJ Stroud, calm, cool, and collected, and one of the 4-man rush guys tweeted a video. CJ Stroud sneaky jacked. He's got that V shape on his back. We all strive for that, but I would love to see that. If Shaq Thompson's still on the team, I have a weird suspicion, unless he takes a pay cut or move the money elsewhere, he might not be on the team. So I can see CJ Stroud swapping, taking that number 7 from Shaq Thompson. But I'm really interested to see who his staff are. Is he going to keep James Campen, who I saw a tweet earlier today that the Cowboys could be looking at Campen to be their offensive line head coach? It'd be great if he could stay, if Chris Tabor could stay on the special teams. But yeah, we're getting a grown up here. We're not getting a 1-year offensive coordinator and Ben Johnson or Shane Steichen. We're getting a tenured, NFL vet, long-time quarterback, backup quarterback in this league, called plays, offensive coordinator, head coach, and the same way you saw guys fight for Steve Wilkes for multiple reasons and all justified. You saw the same amount of players in Indianapolis fight for Frank Reich to keep his job with the Colts. He was wrongly let go, and players would die for him. You saw Nick Sirianni, who was an opposing coach. Literally, there's video of him yelling at the Colts fan base, saying that was for Frank. And so he is a well-loved guy as well. And you're going to see it from the insiders. You're going to see players and all that stuff. Obviously, you're going to see the camps that saying, it should have been Wilkes. And then you're going to see others out there, probably from Colts organizations and in Philly, saying it's a great hire. Panthers going to build something special, and I hope we do, especially on the offensive side. I think it's good. I think it's a nice change of pace. And you know what? I am grateful that Tepper took his time. It was a bigger list than we all thought. He literally spoke to, I think it was 12 candidates, did the second interviews, and it looks like he's listening to the people in the room, whether it's Dan Morgan, his wife, Nicole, Scott Fitterer, players, other players. I don't know if they incorporate players or not, because who knows who's going to be on the team next year, because new head coach. It looks like he did his due diligence. He didn't rush into it. And I know it must have been emotionally difficult not to hire Steve Wilkes. We saw the video, obviously, when he gave him the game ball. He's a Charlotte guy, Appalachian State guy, hard done in Arizona, handed another shitty situation in Carolina and still made it work. But again, I'm not a fan of good stories. I don't think it's all. If you just hire people based on good stories, the Bills should be in the playoffs right now. They should be in the AFC Championship game at that stupid neutral site game in Atlanta. Probably the only championship game they'll see in a while. But, I'm not big on stories. And I don't know. I think maybe we'll find out what his offensive plan was. Maybe it was Frank Reich as the offensive coordinator. Probably not. But I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out what his offensive plan was. It just probably didn't jive. If he just came in there saying, we're just going to keep that keep pattern mentality. We're just going to keep running the ball. I could see Tepper not flying with that, or I could see him, if he said something crazy like, hey, we're staying with Sam Darnold. No. I don't know. I'm going to assume the best. I'm here for it, Phil. I'm here for you, Brandon. Great hire. Preach. Cousin. Kuzan. Wilkes buckled in one game that he had pressure on us to potentially win the division. All of the games meant nothing. This is true. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I might do another video later tonight. Maybe if there's a group hangout vlog, maybe I'll join that as well. I have no idea. I don't know if I'm the cool kid or not. But those are my thoughts. Frank Reich, the next Carolina Panthers head coach. Maybe sticks around for a while. Let's win a Super Bowl. Let's fucking go. See you guys soon.